This is the rhythm of the night.
Hello and welcome to another OnTrade Show podcast, the show where we try to bring inspiration to the industry from senior people and inspirational people across the industry to hopefully move the industry forward. On today's show, we have the dynamic duo and partnership team of Richard and Amy from the original Rosslyn Inn and Dollies Tea Room in Chapel Cross Guesthouse. How are we, guys?
Have you got the right people? That kind of introduction.
I was thinking the same.
I was going to do a drum roll. Really good to see you guys. How are you?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Welcome. So the reason we were keen to get you on is we've obviously been working quite a bit and we're communicating with you guys, and you've been engaging with us quite a lot across the title. For those that aren't aware of both venues, I'll start with you, Richard. Give us a background on the historic original Rosslyn Inn.
So we are the original Rosslyn Inn, which dates back a couple of hundred years. I think it's 200 years next year. Family run. So my dad came with my granddad in 1973 with my mum. So 53 years, over 53 years this year.
Right.
Been at the helm there, serving the community. We're a traditional country inn. So we are the sort of regular raconteurs, the innkeepers, the purveyors of libations.
Okay.
We're traditional hospitality specialists. We care greatly about what we do, and we're very proud about our area and the village we're from, which has a bit of fame with the Rosslyn Chapel and Da Vinci Code. So we have a local and global audience.
Yeah.
So we do proper home-cooked food on premises. We still serve my dad's chicken liver patty that he makes. It's his recipe for 50-odd years that he learnt at catering school. So it's really about tradition, history and hospitality. And I think the evolution of where the industry is going, technology, we've moved forward with a lot of technology. So this year we've introduced QR codes because we sort of resisted, because we want that human connection.
Yeah.
That's important to us. But we're also aware that there's customers out there who want that experience of, I want the QR code, I'm out with my friends.
That's what they're now kind of programmed to do within hospitality.
And we do cocktails and drinks, but our cocktails are TALES. So every cocktail comes with a story.
Okay.
So we have our version of a porn star martini. It's called a shag pile.
Love it.
It's called a shag pile because Rosslyn historically had a carpet factory down the Glen, and it was not renowned for its carpets and its fabrics. So we tried to tie a lot of our offering into local history and tell everything has a story about it. So, and we have QR codes around the inn that tell us about historical. So we are a hospitality business that does a bit of tourism because we're next to a tourism business that does a bit of hospitality.
Well, I was going to say, it's, I mean, both venues, applies to both venues, but obviously it's very much rooted in the community. Yeah. It's very much a community engagement, right?
Yeah, and I think obviously Rosslyn is a small village, and my dad was a townie. He came out to the village. He was always an incomer. But I was born and raised in the village, so I sort of feather my cap that my dad didn't have, which was quite good. But I'm really passionate, and I care greatly about our community and the not just what happens within our four walls, but without that, we've done. We did a Grail Trails project with the with Visit Scotland. We've done lots of different projects out with our walls to have a positive impact on the community, and I think that's I think our bottom line is important and survival is important.
Yeah.
But I think we trade with our family name and make sure that locally that the reputation of the family name means something within hospitality, and that's what we try and do. And I think being third generation, essentially, you don't want to be the guy that messes that up.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Amy, from Dolly's perspective? There's obviously different types of business, right?
Totally different. And when we first bought the hotel and we didn't know what we were going to do with that space, and we went down the tea room route,
right.
It was very much, because we have to be careful. Richard's dad had that venue, for a long time before.
Historic venue.
We're buying the place directly over the road. We're going to steal his customers. That's the reality.
Family competition and internal squabbles.
Back in the day, that we had that conversation many of the times. And what's really interesting is Dollies, with being a tea room, being open 9 till 5. we have completely different customers. We don't hardly share. I'd say we share maybe 20% of our customers.
Right.
Like,
okay.
They are totally different clientele. Dollies, again, it is a hub. You know, we get a lot of the mums from the village. A lot of, you know, retired people that come and meet most days. But it's the tea room. It's totally different.
I think we wanted to create a community space that you could, like, you can't book a table there. You just walk in and the space is free and you can sit as long as you want and you sort of sit. And so we have people visiting gravesides, or we have people visiting the chapel, or we have people out for a walk. So we really wanted to create that community hub, and because
it's like a counselling centre as well. It is. That's it. You know, it's you've got your real locals that come in and they're there for the conversation as well. They're not just there for the coffee and cake. Do you know?
And I think a lot. Going back to that, I think that's a lot of things that external sources to the industry miss. The human connection that hospitality venues across the board have. It's where, and we've talked about it in the show with Sasha, we've talked about it with Caitlin McAllister and numerous other people, Michael, numbers of times with Bergson. It's where people have their conversations. It's where they meet friends. It's where they build relationships. It's where they build memories. And out with everything else, you know, the revenue, the rates and all that we'll touch on. I think the people get lost and what that matters to communities.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it was ultimately the first social network was going to the pub. You know, when you got a job promotion, or you had a baby, or you went and celebrated at the pub, and you let everyone in the village know by going to the pub. So it was the first form of social network that we had. And I think communities have seen the removal of tourist information or public toilets, and all these facilities have gone and they've been replaced and taken up by hospitality venues. So we don't just serve our customers, we serve people that are walking up the street and need the toilet, need to charge their phone because they're getting a bus, or they need to get an Uber. And
actually, talking about bus, we are on the bus stop for the toilet use. So do you know, people that drive bus, they actually can't go into places that sell alcohol to use the toilet.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't
so
know that.
you know that they're not allowed. So Dollies is like marked out on their map, and they come in, and I'm always trying to offer them tea or coffee or whatever they want, but they won't take it because they're thinking about the next stop where they're allowed to go for the toilet.
It's strange how we always end up having conversations about toilets on this show. We had a full-on conversation about toilets and glitter balls and stuff like that with the guys from Berlinkies and Lawrence. We're talking about glitter balls and honking a glitter ball in the toilets. I don't know why we're getting the reputation for constantly talking about toilets, but it's important, and probably from you guys' perspective it probably resonates more where you can be looking at city centre venues, and it's sometimes hard for people to understand talking about community and the importance of community and the impact on individuals and people when it's city centre venues. But I'm sure that's something that hits really close to home about how the community interacts with the venues with both of you. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I think also you got to remember these community venues don't do the numbers of a city centre. So a lot of the bigger operators, it wouldn't be viable for their model to be out there. So a lot of the community venues are operators, and we must be sort of imperative that the industry is given the opportunity for people who want to serve their community the ability to survive. I feel like we've been tightened and we've not had any breathing space, and it's really, really hard because we don't do those big numbers throughout the city, and it really has to be, and it's a service and a calling, I suppose, more than it is just a business. Yeah, no,
100%. And we'll kind of touch on that part about the impact that's had. And obviously, you know, you've got things like VAT, you've got things like the non-domestic rates, which, you know, we've both sat in meetings about and had conversations about where, I mean, we've spoke to Sasha in recent announcements by Andy Burnham on what he proposes to do if elected, on, you know, reducing VAT across the industry, and obviously removing that kind of rates aspect for cafes, which I'm sure you'll appreciate.
I love that.
And those kind of things, and how much he as an individual really sees hospitality as a driving force for the economy. But from the perspective that we've had, how impactful is that to you guys in the fact of, we've talked about the community and the importance of you guys serving the community. It's not just a profiteering avenue, because you provide a solution to the wider industry and the wider economy of the community. And I'm not saying, I'm just hypothetically speaking, right? What would the impact be to Rosslyn if you guys weren't able to continue? Does that make sense? If the venues weren't there, and that things got too tough for whatever reason, what would you see as the impact being to Rosslyn as a community?
I think it's always about perception and reality, which we've spoken about as well. So I think initially it would be like, wow, this is a great opportunity. Then they'd probably look at the margin and they think, why are these guys doing this? And I think that's what it is. And I think we're riding out a storm, and people say, how's things in the industry? Richard will say, they're really, really tough. They'll say, how are you doing? I says, well, we're getting there. I says, but we don't have a landlord picking up the phone and saying our rent's going to be up by 50%. So I think it's just so fragilely balanced, and I think you shouldn't have to be excellent just to survive in an industry. And I think it really is at that point, and not sort of saying that that's what we are, but I'm just saying that you have to really be on everything. It's all encompassing. It's not a 9 to 5 job. It's where you live and you breathe. And if you're not living and breathing it, you won't survive.
Also, if you take, say Dollies shut tomorrow, it'll lay empty for 18 months. You know, when we took it over, the contents inside was zero. So it's not like someone was jumping to take it over. It lay empty 18 months. So take that away from the village. You've lost your community hub. You know, I hold the councillors' monthly meeting. You know, your community hub in general, like you lose that. But then nobody's coming to take that over really. Because so your big chains, we're too far out. We're too far out of town. Well, it changed no interest in our area.
So ultimately, the community suffers, the people of the community suffers, and the economy of the area suffers.
It's the mental health impact, because the safe social space, loneliness, people coming out. Like we started an initiative this Christmas where we started.
It's really good.
The village had 900 houses. They built 700. So a lot of it was newcomers, outcomers, and there was that whole thing. You know, which if anyone's ever lived in a village, they'll understand, or a town, they'll know what that is. And we sort of really wanted to break that down. So we started a community called the Rosslyn Dads and Lads. So we now have 50 odd, nearly 60 members of the Rosslyn Dads and Lads. And it's basically revolves around golf. So we met at the pub and walked down to a local brewery.
You don't like golf, do you, Richard?
we actually just had the Open Champions, got his portrait up on the wall for 12 months. So we do lots of things within the community to build community. And I think it's important that hospitality positions itself as the centre of the community. And we need, as operators, we need to engage with communities and learn what they want and make sure we're doing what they want and not what we just think they want.
And see, like the Rosslyn Dads and Lads thing, people think, and again, they get to go and play golf, right? But see, you know, putting 700 more houses in a village. So, you know, women, they go out, they go to their work, they end up best friends with their colleagues. That's the reality. For men, the way the world's went, some of them are working from home, you know, men don't talk about things. They've moved to a village, they don't know anyone. How are they meeting friends?
100%.
How are they meeting friends? So if you don't have an initiative like that, who are they talking to? How are they going? You don't hang around the school gates and say, will you be my friend? You know, like you used to years ago.
It's like that now.
It kind of is like that now.
You're coming out to play.
Honestly, somebody walked behind us on the school run yesterday, and a mum went, "Yous are like a couple of schoolgirls jiggling all the way down the road."
And that's how
brilliant.
it is now. But it's not for me as a nurse as well. The mental health side of that, and for men to be able to have an outlet of just going to the pub or just going to golf and knowing that's coming, that's a huge thing for a community.
But that's why hospitality, the positive impacts, I think the metric that isn't on the sort of ministers look at and the government look at, that's an intangible benefit of a good hospitality.
It's a spreadsheet. It's something that doesn't show up in a spreadsheet or that people don't get. And we've talked about this, and I've spoke to Sasha about it, and numerous people. The thing that properly frustrates me when it comes to government policy and everything else is there is no human level to it. Yeah. Most of the people that are making those decisions have never ran a business. No. They've never operated a business. They look at it as a number on a spreadsheet or acting as an advisor from someone who's, no disrespect to uni graduates, but never been in that or worked in the industry. They're coming straight out a uni degree and a politics degree, straight into a position, and then saying, well, that looks great in a spreadsheet. It may do, but the reality makes no sense whatsoever. No. It's not workable, because the hospitality industry, as we've talked about before, fits into our spiders into so many other industries, retail, you know, beauty industry, transport, everything else that comes with that. What happens to them? Do you start plugging? Before you know it, plugging fingers in a dam and you're not filling anything, you're not solving anything.
I think hospitality has so many dynamic and brilliant operators within Scotland, and sort of getting to meet and learn from some of them there. But we've almost become so dynamic that we're now trying to fix problems for the government. It's like they need to stop coming to us for more money. So
I know.
we were talking about, so one of the conversations I had was, I think Scotland or England, it's like 79 or 80% of the alcohol sold is an off-sale setting.
Right.
So if we keep coming after the 20%, us, the on-trade, then there's not really a huge amount of money to be get there. But if we sort of, let's just say hypothetically, you know, if Justin, if you come into my bar and you say, can I have 28 Jägermeisters?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I can't say the brand.
No, you can say it.
No, I'm just using that as an example. I'm not wanting to
Other brands are available, but we have no issue with that.
I don't want to besmirch anyone. I'm just using that as an example.
You wanted 28 shots.
Sorry, apologies. If you had 28 shots, I'd say, Justin, why don't we start off with a couple? Let's do a couple, see if you get on, and then we'll build there. You go to a supermarket or an off-sale setting and you can buy as many as you want. So imagine we've said, well, actually, we've got 20% VAT, which is too high, and we've all agreed on that, but for hospitality. But what about if in retail we had another 20% off-sales tax? Let's close the parity between off-sales setting and on-sales and drive people back into safe environments, the original consumption room.
That's why you have licensed premises in the first place.
And where all the staff are trained and it's a safe environment and we can regulate the safe consumption of alcohol, drive people back into that, because going after the 20% isn't going to be as lucrative as going after the 80%. So government, drive people back into us and that social experience that comes with buying a drink and going to the pub and having a bottle of wine, and rather than sitting in the house with your partner, you might be having a good mood or a bad mood. Whatever that is.
What are you trying to say?
You can go to the local pub and
I've got a feeling this is going to turn into a Jeremy Kyle show as opposed to a walking jockey. But strangely enough, talking about that, right? You're the first couple team, let's say, that we've had on the show, right? So I'm really interested to understand. I'm sure a lot of people would resonate with it, that when it's a community venue or any venue that you're operating, or any business that you're operating, with the challenges that have existed, right? Let's be honest, the hospitality industry pretty much since COVID has had one hammer blow after the next, and it's not really had a chance to reset, adapt or anything at all. With the challenges, that must be hard not to take home. Without prying too much, I mean, that puts pressure on a family situation.
Absolutely.
I think the caveat before we go into that is that Amy has definitely been the best recruitment I've ever done.
Honestly, it's like Cinderella, really, isn't it?
He's so romantic.
Oh no, best recruitment.
No, but it's really hard. I mean, and I think it's funny because we dovetail quite well. There's things that I delve into and focus on and take responsibility for, and there's things. So anything that you see, there might be the process and the sort of the planning to get to that point, but what makes it beautiful, what brings it to the public, the customer's sort of eye and presentable to the brand is Amy's touch that does that. And I think that's something I can't do. And I think it's being very self-aware of knowing what you're good at and knowing what you're not good at. And we should.
And I think the other thing that cracks me up, so I'll wash the dishes, I can do the coffee machine, I'll be right out on front. And I think people think that I do more than he does. See, if you tell me to pick up the phone and ring about insurance, I'll cry. Do you know, like we have our own strengths and that's how we work together. But when you're saying it kind of coming into our lives, it does. Luckily, we do love hospitality, but it is probably our every conversation. Do you know? It's the kids know about it. Do you know? It's spoke about over dinner because they're our private times, but
they're involved in it as
hospitality is actually our life.
Yeah, no. Totally.
So it absolutely does come at home. Fortunately, we don't really argue about it. We actually don't really argue. Like we have maybe discussions.
I'm guessing you win most of them.
Well, no, if Richard's, for instance, Richard will come into the tea room. So Richard very much does the hotel and I very much do the tea room.
Okay.
Like I say, Richard sorts out all the background stuff of the tea room because that's not my gig. But yeah, he might come in and say, do you know what? Actually, I don't think your rota should work like that. I think maybe, and I will listen while he's talking. And then it will it will just be that's just not going to be happening.
But that's something that comes across very much from both of you every time I've spoken to you, every time I've met you, is you are very much a team.
Yeah.
And that comes across. There's two things that come across with it. Seems as if I'm blowing sunshine. But not only the teamwork side of things, but something that I'm constantly inspired by you guys with is the positivity that you have.
Yeah.
And it's something that I always advocate and always will bend over backwards with, and something I've been criticised for and very vocal about there is no room in the industry for me for arrogance, stereotypes, or this closed-minded approach about that one can't work with that one, or that one doesn't work with that one. It's an industry that we all should be trying to help each other in whatever way we can, and anybody that's closed off to that or thinks they don't need support or help is, for me, damaging the industry. And the thing that's always been really positive for you guys is every time I meet you, every time I speak to you, no matter what it's about, it always brings a smile on my face. You always walk away smiling because you are so positive and so focused and nothing's a problem.
No.
And that's something that we really, really value and want to thank you for, because it genuinely inspires.
I think because we enjoy it. We do enjoy it. But there is negative. I'm not going to pretend there's not negatives, but I think you can't let that define you. You can't let the negatives define you. And if you're always looking at the negatives, how are you growing? How are you moving forward? And when you say about, people, having this opinion, having that opinion, we all have to come as one. We have to come as one. We're stronger in numbers, strength in numbers. And I
mean, we spoke about it, and just when you mention that, it's when you look at the industry as a whole and the amount of diverse personalities that are across the industry, it's an entertainment industry at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Whether you're serving a coffee or whether you're a nightclub like the Ministry of Sound, and you're entertaining people in some way. You're affecting their mood, you're affecting their attitude. And what we've always said is, yes, there's challenges across the industry. Yes, some of them are bad. Some of them need to be fixed, and they urgently need to be fixed. But there's always going to be a problem. There's always going to be a hurdle or a challenge to go over in some form. As an industry, if we keep banging on about how bad things are, how challenging things are, how, the same doom loop that we seem to be stuck in at points, it's no surprise that we're finding it harder to employ people or harder to find staff. Not just the challenges with the NI and everything else, which are there, but if we as an industry are projecting that it's not a particularly positive place to be,
why do people want to come into it?
Why would people want to come and work in it? Why would people want to come out and experience that?
We have to have the silver lining. I think
we have to tweak the narrative a wee bit in a way. Yes, it's vitally important, and we'll do it till our dying day, about championing the industry and focusing on what's not right and what needs to be better. Yeah. But we're also look at things and want to celebrate. We want to do it with a wee bit of tongue in cheek and have a laugh, and it's not a bad thing.
No.
You're smiling and laughing isn't a thing that should be shied away from.
Absolutely not. I think, like you're saying, about passion that we have for what we do. I mean, we're microscopic in the grand scheme of the hospitality, but it's our whole world. So it matters everything to us. World. So that's it. And I think, like say, making it fun. One of our key drivers with the team, and we've really, our key KPI is the staff stay around. So we have Stuart, who runs our business, who's 23 years. He's with us. We have two managers, Aidan and Freya, that are over 10 years. We have a chef that started as a KP. It's a chef that's been with us 13 years. Our head chef's been with us 23 years. Wow. These numbers do not exist in small hospitality, and it's because we focus heavily on culture over everything. Before our systems, before our processes, before our P&L, it's about that culture and focusing it around our core values. But I think giving staff autonomy to make mistakes, and I've learned this from speaking to a lot of the bigger operators who give you advice, and it's really been invaluable to me. But the sort of don't judge every page. Maybe look at the chapters, but don't judge every page. We're humans. We're going to make mistakes. Things aren't going to go to plan every day. But I think look back at the chapter. What do we do well? How can we improve? And is there something we can fix? And I think that passion and that energy that you bring is reciprocated from people, and you can even bring it out people who didn't know they had it, as 100%. Long as you come with it. And I think having that conversation, having the check-ins, and really being supportive, and that is hospitality as a whole. And I'm the chairman for the Edinburgh South East Scottish Licensed Trade, but I serve hospitality. So I go to every trade. I go to SHG, I go to UKH, I go to all the trade bodies, because I believe it's to serve the industry and it's for the good of the interest. We should all be together, and we should all be on the same page, and we should all be fighting for the same thing.
100%. It's about, as I say, it's our main focus and our kind of mission statement, if you like, is to connect the industry in a better way. That's all it's about. There's no hidden agenda. There's no stereotype. There's no arrogance. It's just to move the industry forward in whatever way we possibly can. And
that's the energy and vibrance that you and your team do bring.
Yeah, you do.
And I think that's a testament
I think
to you guys.
that's what we
and
align
your whole
with,
team.
isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
It's just
it's that whole
See, when we talk about like the fun side of it and try to bring people to hospitality, so Dollies has a TikTok page.
Yes. I was going to touch base on the social media element of both of you, because it's very prevalent, let's say.
Yeah, and I was laughing. I was in the waiting room through there and my team put the most silly video on and I'm giggling myself to it, and I put underneath love yous because I generally do. But see, when I last went to employ, people sat in the interview and said, it looks really fun to work here. Watch your TikToks.
Wow.
And see, just having that, and I'm not just talking one or two of them, like 80% of the people I had an interview with mentioned our TikTok.
Right.
And it's often you'll see it's the same ones because we're never going to make people feel uncomfortable. Do you know, it's the ones that are comfortable doing it.
That's my job.
I know, like me here. But yeah, so, making it fun again, showing people that it is fun. And you're right, not always focusing on the negatives. And also for me in the tea room, sometimes we can have really quiet times where maybe in the past we had to send people home, but actually they rely on their hours. So I'll say, do you know what? Let's not send people home. I don't employ somebody to do our social media. Our team does the social media. Let's do some TikToks.
Yeah.
So that's why there's so many of them.
It's still contributing. Touching on the social media element, right? A couple of things on that side of things. Obviously, you were mentioning Stuart. It was obviously his birthday recently.
Yes, that's right.
Stuart's very animated.
He's a superstar.
He's amazing.
He's the best, actually.
He's absolutely phenomenal. But you guys have obviously developed quite a following on social media, both of you, for the, let's say, very different kind of social media approaches for venues. Everything usually, and maybe like us, is a bit kind of corporate and official, whereas you guys just have a lot of fun with what it is.
If we post about, I think in the industry, if you post about good food and good drink, people are like, well, that's a baseline for what you do. It's your job. So I think we were like, why does it not land and why are we not getting any engagement? But when we started, and I think every idea that we've ever had has been made improved by collaboration. So we all sit around the table and say, what about this? What if we did this? What if we did that? And some of them have landed really, really well.
My favourite, I've got to be honest, was the transfer deadline one.
And that was good because it included other venues and stuff as well.
Yeah.
I can't decide whether they're my Scottish Ant and Dec or whether they're the Chuckle Brothers.
But
I'm saying nothing.
But yeah, but I think it shows, and I think what's again a USP for us as a business, because it's when people come, when they walk in, and I've noticed it. You walk through the restaurant and people are like, hey, how you doing? And
I feel like they know you.
They know you.
And I'm like, I don't recognise their face. I'm like, hey, and then you do your bit. And then it's because of social media and they feel like they know you. And that's an amazing tool because you'll watch the video and you'll go, he's an idiot, I'm not going there. Or you'll go, oh, actually, I think he cares about what he does.
It breaks down a barrier.
Yeah.
It removes a barrier right away from people feeling awkward and uncomfortable. And again, it's injecting that personality of the venue or the people across, which is
and sure
hugely
fun
important.
as well.
100%.
Do you know what, Stuart? And he loves people to not recognise them. And anyways, he went out in Edinburgh and he held a door open for some girls, and she went, I know you. He was like, and it was after they did, which was, I mean, it was a little bit repulsive to me to watch. But it was after they did the Valentine's one with the ghost one.
Yeah, I've seen
and
them all. Trust me.
She's like, I've seen you doing that. Yeah, that TikTok or whatever it was, you shared it, and he's like, yeah, that was me. That was me. So yeah, it's
talking about the other side of the social media stuff. You guys were nominated last year for a couple of awards at the OnTrade Awards, and you have also been nominated for a couple of awards this year at this year's awards.
Yes, very exciting.
And you've won a few awards last year for, I think, was it for the social media aspect?
Yes, it was.
I thought it was. Yeah, rightly so.
Yeah.
Congratulations. But yeah, touch on the awards, and again, I'm always keen to know people's feedback, good or bad. Yeah. Right. Our awards are obviously very different.
They're so different.
Mm-hmm. We try to, our whole focus is about trying to, for me, there's no point in talking to the industry about experience, daring to be different, not going through the same motions as everybody else, and try and break the mould a wee bit and move things forward without actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it's important for me, to put my money where my mouth is, for want of a better word. Hence the reason why we are so different.
Yeah.
But I'm keen to see what was your impressions? What was the awards, getting the award and stuff like that? Give us a few.
I think credit to you, because like you said, that's exactly what you've done. You've created something, it's different, it's high energy, it's lots of fun.
It's like a night out for people in the trade as well.
Yeah.
That's what you created. It's
Exactly
an
what
award.
it should be.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think sometimes, it's as getting your team to come out and celebrate with you, and we had their full team there.
Yeah.
You
Getting
did.
us through from the West Coast to the West Coast was a challenge, but it was important because these awards and this recognition isn't earned by one person.
No.
Whether how good Stuart is or whoever anyone is, it's
a team.
effort.
Yeah,
and
100%.
the team needs to be there
Don't
for
exist
it.
without it.
And we were so lucky to get that special night and to win the Social Media Engagement Award, which was.
But it's not just been with us. You've won a number of awards across a number of the
Yeah,
sectors in the industry.
yeah,
Your award nearly caused a divorce.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is that? What
it
happened
did.
there?
And mate,
We need to elaborate on this.
I know,
Let's-
and you know, we really don't argue, and
Yeah,
it wasn't an argument.
You're
It
probably
was
an
just
argument at 2025.
he was just very disappointed, which I think's worse than an argument.
Right.
I did decide to go to the ladies
As they were winning the award.
as
And I
they-
was like,
No.
and then I
would you
didn't
always
just
work
decide to
together?
go to the
And you're there
ladies.
beside me to celebrate with me, and I was a
And
bit
then
like,
I came down
an
the
injured puppy
stairs,
dog, I
and
suppose, but-
they came into the foyer with their reward as I was doing a shot at the bar. And I kind of looked over and I was like, I promise I was at the toilet. I was just doing this as I passed. But yeah, so
I wasn't angry, I was just disappointed.
Disappointed. At the crucial moment, Amy,
I know.
you were.
But we're obviously
Was it Jägermeister the shot? Just
No, it wasn't. I won't say the other brand, but no, it wasn't a Jägermeister.
Apologies again.
But no, it was actually fun to see, and this is what really matters to me about our awards and about the aspect that we don't decide. I constantly get questions about, oh, can we do this, or who's the winners or who's the finalists? I don't know.
No.
I genuinely don't know.
It feels that way as well,
Yeah.
which I think it's genuine.
As
you
much
know,
as
yeah.
a surprise to me as to who the finalists are when it happens, and the winners, I don't know. I have no control over it whatsoever. It's
Yeah.
the venues or the customers that decide who gets that aspect. And I think that's the way it's got to be, because hopefully then it matters more.
Yeah, it does.
Because it's not one person turning around and going,
No.
I'll give you that because we've got a good relationship or
No.
whatever. It's your customers
Yeah.
in the industry that's saying, we think that they've been the best in that.
And it brings
that
the
area.
customers on the journey with
Well,
you.
that's exactly what I was
So
gonna
they
say.
celebrate
Yeah.
the award with you
Yeah.
because
They help
they've
you
been
get
part of it.
100%.
Yeah, and I think, and it's great we did a video to get the votes in, but we so lucky to have such an engaged audience that that put votes in, because we not have the biggest following maybe, but to get people who actually have went out their way to go and send the email or send a message, so appreciative of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It certainly matters. But I was laughing when the two presenters, I think it was Amy, I think Lisa was presenting social media with her, and the team descended on the stage. They were like rabbit in the headlights. It was like, where are all these people coming from? It was really funny, but it was brilliant, and it was great to see. I personally enjoy the TikToks. I think they're phenomenal. I think I enjoy the social media stuff, and it always puts a smile on my face. Like, as I said, when you guys, even just speaking to you guys, and something, I mean, you said something to me, Amy, that stuck in my head, and I was a bit taken aback by it. And if I'm entirely honest, I actually had a wee bit of a moment after you said it, right? And I wasn't going to bring this up, but I'm going to now anyway. But you came up to me, I can't remember if it was before or after awards, and I was usually either half sober or kind of sober, or kind of speaking to people or trying to organise stuff or whatever. But you come over to me and you kind of grab my arm and you kind of put me saying, you said, thank you for what you do for the industry. And I was I went thank, and I was like, wow, that really kind of hit. Well, I had a moment, I genuinely had a tear. But I'm not kidding, I'm not just saying
That's
that.
because you're passionate about it and it's what you do.
Because I was like, wow, that matters.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't
That's what
because
it's
of
all
an
about,
ego or
isn't
anything
it?
at all,
Yeah.
but the fact that whether people agree that we do or not, but the fact that you took the time to give that feedback really meant something to us. I'm welling up now. I'll have another shot. But no,
that says
what
as
matters.
much about yourself. That's
what matters to us.
It's a relentless beast, this industry, and to have people to be going at the front of the, shouting aloud about it, shouting for the help for it. We need that. We need more people doing
people like yourself.
you're doing, raising that awareness, showing that the people like ourselves and all the other people, the readers and followers from the platform, that are in a tough spot. And it's surviving isn't just okay. Profit's not a bad word.
100%.
We need that to reinvest in our teams, reinvest in our venues, and give better products to our customers. So,
but at the same time, celebrating what we have.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing community and an amazing employer. Just hospitality is amazing. It's just underrated, isn't it?
100%. It's one of the things that I take a lot of inspiration from when I sit with you guys, or we sit in some of the meetings and we sit in some of the conversations that take place around the challenges. But the one thing that kind of stands out for me is the vast amount of togetherness that's there, where people will really stand their ground. Yeah, it's been a hard fight. Yeah, it's been a challenge for certain areas. Hopefully it's going to start getting better very, very soon. But I don't think I've ever seen any industry go through the challenges that the industries went through for the last 5-6 years and not broken.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are really caught at doing that. And I know it's not about patting the industry in the back, but and some people customers may look at aspects and think, oh, they're busy, so they must be making money. Just because a venue is busy doesn't mean to say they're making money.
No.
Doesn't mean to say they're making profit. There's a big, big difference between those two things. And when you're getting into one of the venues that we constantly, or we've had feedback from people saying, but I mean, Wonderbar, how can they moan because the place is absolutely jumping at the weekends and stuff like that? And then when I had a conversation with Kevin and we spoke to the team, and it was on one of the other podcasts with Sir Tom Hunter and Lord Hockey.
Yeah.
It kind of really hit home where their rates went up 481%.
Ours went up massive.
I mean, it's mental. I mean, and if you look at, if you go back to, if that was a landlord, a private landlord with a private tenant, and they were increasing somebody's rent by 400%, and they were saying, well, you either pay it or you get out and I'll get somebody that can. Not only would that landlord be deemed as a rogue landlord and chastised with every community they possibly could, but there'd probably be police involvement about all manner of stuff. So why is it okay just because it's the local authority?
I
if it was an office block, it would be completely different.
Yeah, I referenced Wonderbar. I did an article with the reporter for the Hollywood magazine for the new MSPs coming in, and I actually referenced Wonderbar. When I watched, seen the podcast and seen them talking about it, and it's heartbreaking. And I think I think somebody had spoke about the figure he had invested in the property, and whatever that figure is. But ultimately, people are going to stop investing and growing and bringing new properties to the customers because they're worried about what the rate bill's going to be.
Yeah.
And there's been lots of things about rates, poundage, and all the different things I've spoke about. Well, are we taking national insurance contribution into factor, like all the taxes generated from the venue rather than just this hypothetical rate? I mean, why we're working on hypothetical rents when we actually can find the actual rents out?
We could give them the answer. Do you know?
I think we'll charge you that.
But yeah, I think if I could say for anything, and I think the industry, if we could unite behind one thing and say, give us transparency. I'll pay the rates you've given me. Show me how you did the sum.
Yeah.
Show me it. And once you show me how to do the sum, that will make an argument for us. But just, if everyone just show me the transparency, freedom of information, I want to see how you came to that number.
Yeah.
And as long as it's consistent across every property, in every area, and different sizes and types across the
every
country.
business.
Yeah, but then
like the
fair
dentist
enough.
next door went up 1%.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the dentist next door to us went up 1%. We went up 37 and 87.
Oh.
It's crazy.
87.
Yeah.
Like a coffee shop, 87%.
Madness.
And like you said, independent coffee shops, there's not a lot of them. It's a tough business. Hospitality in general stuff, we know that from the original, but Dollies, it has rooms that support it and subsidise it.
Very luckily has
so
the
very
rooms.
fortunate we have 5 rooms that subsidise the tea room, but the labour percentage of that it's a killer. And maybe because they're making TikToks all the time.
Well, fingers crossed.
If the VAT came, that would help things a lot.
Well, as I was going to say, fingers crossed the recent announcement from Andy Burnham, and hopefully Andy by this time is elected in, not for any political preference that we have, but simply for somebody that I know his desire to see hospitality as a core area to building the economy. I think the announcements that he's made about what he would do in relation to VAT and what he would do in relation to rates for venues can only be a positive thing that has to be celebrated regardless of the colour of the tie. That's of no interest to us, but hopefully that takes place and that moves on. Guys, I could talk to you literally all day.
We can talk all day too.
Somebody that can talk me under a table is impressive. But
as a pair as well.
Exactly. But listen, I
need a paracetamol after us.
No, I've got a really watery tea, but that's that. We'll soldier on. But listen, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
It's been much appreciated.
Thank you for having us.
Keep up the fantastic work, and certainly keep up the social media stuff.
We will.
And best of luck at this year's awards.
Thank you.
I hope you do well.
We look forward to it.
Well, that's been another OnTrade Show podcast. Hopefully you've understood something from the conversation with Richard Namey. Hopefully it's inspired some aspect of a conversation or a thought process for you, and hopefully we can move the industry forward together. Till the next one, have a great day.